John Seidlitz, Alan Cox, WCCO Television News, St. Paul.
The Senate Government Operations Committee today heard testimony from the former director of PARA, the Public Employees Retirement Association, Mike McLaren. The committee is investigating allegations of mismanagement against suspended interim pension fund director John Allers. Allers maintains he has done nothing wrong. McLaren told the committee that during his 5-year tenure as director, Mr. Allers seemed to have a lot of behind-the-scenes control. McLaren said things seemed to happen behind his back.
I did have some influence because the issues that I was talking about, which was improving benefits for retirees, was what the majority of the board believed in.
Allers says the investigation is underway because the senators have nothing else to do.
Today, the state's largest teachers union proposed sweeping changes in the way Minnesota educates its children. The changes come in a 5-page proposal called An Agenda for Educational Excellence, and it will be presented to the Minnesota legislature. Debbie Ely has more on the proposals.
The Minnesota Education Association Teachers Report addresses issues ranging from curriculum to funding. Among the highlights, a core curriculum used by all districts in the state. Those that did not adhere to it would be merged with districts that did. Lifelong learning, which would include free preschool and community college courses. Teachers' pay and benefits to be negotiated on a statewide basis, which the MEA says would ensure equity for all. And funds for districts to come solely from state coffers instead of local levies. But Teachers Union President Marty Zinn says that by far the most innovative recommendation deals with staff development, a mentor system where senior teachers work closely with junior teachers.
And what we are suggesting is a whole new value being placed on peers working together, not in an evaluative sense, but in a way that is designed to improve instruction.
The state's other large union does not support all the MEA ideas, especially statewide collective bargaining, because the MEA plan could effectively do away with one of the teachers' unions. State Education Commissioner Ruth Randall says she agrees with many of the MEA proposals, but she wants more time to study them. MEA leaders say they don't know how much their proposal would cost, but they say Minnesota lawmakers should look at it as an investment to reestablish Minnesota as a leader in education. Debbie Ely, WCCO Television News.
Minnesota Senator David Durenberger is a candidate to succeed Barry Goldwater as head of the Senate Intelligence Committee, a powerful position within the U.S. Congress. Senator Durenberger says if he is chosen when Congress convenes in January, there will be changes in how the committee is run.
Stop using covert action. Stop using your CIA to accomplish what are open paramilitary national policy objectives. Find some other way to do what you want to do other than using our intelligence agencies to do it.
The senator says he hopes the changes will restore public confidence in U.S. intelligence operations. Pat?
The Minnesota Supreme Court today narrowed the circumstances under which a woman can be granted permanent alimony. The High Court reversed 2 Hennepin County Court decisions ordering large permanent maintenance payments to women in their 40s whose job skills had become outdated during their marriages. The 2 women justices dissented, saying the women sacrificed their own careers while their husbands went to medical school. Coming up next, a new link in the St. Paul Skyway system helps that city set a record.
Before the holidays arrive, even Santa finds great values on gifts at True Value hardware stores. Like this wherever popcorn pumper that pops a bowl of popcorn with hot air in just minutes. And the KitchenAid food processor to help your favorite chef prepare food quickly. For a more personal gift, choose the Remington Micro Screen Electric Shaver or the novel but practical Presto Electric Shoe Polisher. Take home all these values from participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Estee Lauder colors your Christmas beautiful with a special offer. Her new color originals. 17 beautiful shades for lips, eyes, cheeks, nails, all in a versatile tray to use again and again. This outstanding value is just $18.50 with any Estee Lauder fragrance purchase. A very beautiful holiday from Estee Lauder. Estee Lauder's special holiday offer is yours at Dayton's Cosmetics.
There's a complex of pests out there waiting to attack your corn crop. And you need protection that's best for conservation tillage. Counter Systemic Insecticide Nematicide cuts through the clutter to concentrate protection in furrow. for the broadest spectrum control you can get. Seed Safe Counter works on contact and systemically for a strong, healthy stand. Counter, banded or in furrow, best for conservation tillage, guaranteed.
NSP shipments of nuclear waste may be in jeopardy tonight, not because of Minnesota complaints, but because of a neighboring Wisconsin complaint. Governor Anthony Earl says he will petition the Nuclear Regulatory Commission to rescind its approval of allowing spent nuclear waste shipments through Wisconsin. NSP's plans to transport 30 loads of nuclear waste from Minnesota to Illinois over the next 5 years prompted Wisconsin's petition. Much of downtown St. Paul is staying warm tonight, that thanks to the new district hot water heating plant. Today, the system, which supplies relatively cheap heat, was officially completed. And as Mike Walsh reports, it came in ahead of schedule, also under budget.
The boilers were stoked up to full burn a year ahead of schedule, and hundreds of thousands of gallons of hot water flowed through 50,000 feet of pipes to warm up 80 downtown buildings. And the project was completed $1.3 million under the near $50 million budget. It utilizes 70% low-sulfur coal to heat the water, and it is the largest system of its kind in the United States.
2 years ago and 3 years ago, and some of you were there when I said it. You ain't seen nothing yet about the development of this city, nor in the way this city can be a model, in the way that we conserve and use energy.
In January, officials will begin testing wood chips as a source of fuel. It's all designed to ensure St. Paul of a heating source besides fossil fuels, which may not always be available or affordable.
I think this fuel flexibility in combination with efficiency of our system will prove to supply long-term stable energy prices for the community of St. Paul.
It's also working out to be a good deal for customers, some of whom have cut their energy costs 20% with the hot water district heating. District heating officials say they're now studying the possibility of expanding their service into residential neighborhoods near the downtown area. That could happen as early as next year. I'm Mike Walsher, WCCO Television News, St. Paul.
People in downtown St. Paul are also going to be warmer tonight because of a new Skyway connection. The link between 4th and Wabasha and Cedar Street brings the total of Skyway blocks in St. Paul to 29. The city now boasts the longest climate-controlled walkway of its kind in the world, so there. The business of corporate takeovers is the business of Minnesota, according to a federal appeals court. The 8th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has upheld a Minnesota law that allows the state to police corporate takeovers involving Minnesota shareholders. A California firm trying to gain control of Conwed Corporation of St. Paul had challenged that law. The firm has claimed that Minnesota's law interferes with federal rules on corporate takeovers. Pat?
Coming up next, the toll a police officer's job can take on his personal life.
I grew up with total equipment on the golf course, so this handy snow thrower was no surprise to me. Just look at the power. It's lightweight, won't clog, and it cleans right down to the pavement. So get yourself a new Toro, because even when the weather turns bad, a fellow has to get to work in the morning.
Save up to $40 on Toro single-stage snow throwers. Offer ends December 1st.
Smell terrific. Ciara?
Remember when we first met?
Come on in. Plenty of room.
Looks like it's never going to stop.
I sure hope not. Ciara, a thoroughly female fragrance. What will it remind you of?
Get the first in beauty from Ultima 2 with any Ciara or Ultima 2 purchase. At Powers.
Right about now, everybody wants to find a hot place to spend Christmas. Well, man, I know of such a place. So, man, spend Christmas where it's hot. Chicago.
Why contact lenses? Why see just straight ahead when you can see all around you? But I can't wear ordinary contacts, and I don't.
Introducing a unique kind of lens, the Boston lens. custom made to your exact prescription, even if you have astigmatism.
And they're comfortable all day long.
The Boston Lens, custom made for people who could never wear contacts before. Ask your eye care professional or call now about the Boston Lens.
The job of the police is to protect the public, but sometimes they too need protection.
The statistics are alarming. Police officers suffer 2.5 times the divorce and alcoholism rates as the general public. Experts blame job stress. To help combat such stress, law enforcement officials held a conference this week. Trish Van Pilsen reports the story of one policeman whose problem is not unique.
Dick Stahura was the kind of cop the others always felt good about riding with. He was careful and calm. They knew they could depend on him. He had it together, or so it seemed.
Everything just seemed to be just fine, you know. And then, but inside I always felt lonely, and I felt separated from everybody else.
Stahura joined the force a naive kid, thinking that wearing police blues and a badge would magically make him perfect. He wanted to help people. But what he thought he'd find on the streets and what he found were a million miles apart.
I took an oath to do a job and take care of people. That was my first mistake. I was going to take care of people. I was going to make the world right. And when you finally realize, and it takes a lot of years, when you finally realize that you can't do that, I felt like I had let everybody down.
Officers killed in the line of duty become heroes. But no one hears about the cops who try to kill themselves. And they do, more than in any other profession. Like Stahura, they can't live with the shattered ideals or with the fear.
And the only time that I was not afraid was for the 2.5 years when I thought about killing myself. Because if you're going to kill yourself, what's there to be afraid of?
Stahura came to believe that killing himself was the only way out. A quirk of fate kept him alive. There were too many kids playing in the park where he planned to shoot himself that day. So what might have been the end became the beginning. After getting counseling for himself, he pioneered a stress program in the Minneapolis Police Department so other cops can learn what he has learned, that they're not perfect, they're only human. Trish Van Pilsen, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
Minneapolis Police Chief Tony Boza found an appropriate outlet for stress today. He was out helping others, joining in the spirit of the season, ringing out a traditional holiday sound, collecting donations for the Salvation Army. Chief spent about half an hour ringing his bell at the corner of 7th and Nicollet. The man convicted of attempted murder and rape of a Minneapolis woman will be sent to St. Peter's State Hospital, where he will be evaluated before a judge sentences him. Today at a hearing, Hennepin County District Judge Lindsay Arthur said an investigation found Ivory Mosby to be mentally ill and dangerous. Judge Arthur ordered Mosby to St. Peter until a sentencing date has been set, at which time he will be imprisoned at Stillwater State Prison or at the psychiatric ward at the state hospital. Pat?
Local health food stores were besieged today by customers wanting to buy folic acid, the vitamin which may inhibit cancer. Store shelves were quickly emptied as people reacted to results of a cancer study released yesterday. Research indicates that high levels of folic acid tend to prevent natural weak points in human genes from breaking and thus reduces the possibility of getting cancer. Doctors are warning people not to exceed dosages of 50 to 200 micrograms a day, and they say epileptics and vegetarians should refrain from using folic acid at all. The weather forecast up next, and Mike Fairborn warns me the key word is blech.
In Chevy trucks, you're ahead of a Ford every way. Ahead in price with Chevy S10, $500 under Ford Ranger, Chevy S10 Blazer, $800 under Ford Bronco 2. More trucks, longer trucks, roomier trucks. Blazer Standard V8 against Bronco 6 for 35 more HP. Or Chevy Van's Vortec V6 with 20 HP more than Ford 6. And all this with our truck leadership deal to move 1,000 trucks in November. Get more than Ford with less to pay. Right now at Twin Cities Chevy dealers.
Some people save on fuel bills by turning down the heat at night. But that makes it pretty cold the next morning before they turn it back up. Now you don't have to suffer to save. AutoStat by First Alert fits most thermostats. No wiring needed. AutoStat automatically turns the temperature down at night to save money and turns it back up so your mornings are nice and warm. Get AutoStat by First Alert, because waking up in the cold is for the birds.
Available at Holiday Plus and participating coast to coast.
Polo isn't just a game. It's a tradition.
a way of life. One that is captured by Ralph Lauren in his clothing and in Polo, Ralph Lauren's sporting scent for men. Now travel in the style of Polo with the Carry-On Duo, this handsome garment bag and matching grooming kit. Only $20 with any Polo fragrance purchase of $15 or more. Inside, you'll find a travel size of Polo cologne. Available at Dayton's.
Friday evening at 11, Kevin Dobson is about to turn back the hands of time. After 15 years, he's going home, but he's not sure it's such a great idea.
Why don't you go?
Go where?
To the reunion. You could see your dad. He's not far from there.
You want me to go?
It might give us a needed breather.
Reunion, Friday at 11 on WCCO Television, Channel 4.
Well, so you're calling the weather, ugh.
Well, I called it blah.
Well, how do you spell that? Ugh.
B-L-A-H. I don't know how you spell what you said. What we're saying is that it's going to be kind of dull, gray, overcast, maybe a flurry or two, but probably nothing significant until tomorrow night or perhaps on Sunday when we could see some more in the way of accumulation of snow. But until then, more of the same.
More of the same.
That's
well,
the
we'll
forecast.
Need some snow
See you tomorrow. Okay. 30 degrees was our high today. 26 was the low. We did have a trace of precipitation in the form of both snow and freezing rain. We've had a little bit of freezing drizzle reported around the Twin Cities area. Some of the roads, especially out in the western suburbs, are becoming a little bit slippery. So if you're out and about tonight, even though there are no traveler's advisories, please be a little bit careful because you might run across a slippery spot or two. Morning lows map is kind of interesting all across the country. We've got plenty of cold air over us. In fact, temperatures in the 20s all the way down into the southeast. Parts of northern Florida early this morning dropped into the 20s, and yet it was 71 degrees down in Miami. That's a 50-degree temperature spread across a very, very short distance down there. And of course, the cold air that we have over us is continuing to produce a little bit of flurry activity and a little bit of freezing drizzle in certain pockets around the area. A little colder to the north, temperatures in the teens. Temperatures, though, into the 30s down to the southwest of us, and they were in the 40s earlier today. So there is some warmer air out to the southwest than what we have over us, but we're probably not going to see much of it. We're going to stay just about where we are right now for the next couple of days. Now, we've had one storm system move to the east of us. That deposited snow to the south of us throughout the day yesterday, but nothing really of any significance up over us. There's another one forming out here in the west, however, that we're going to keep an eye on. That's following about the same path that the last one did. And if it happens to move a little bit further to the north, then we could see more snow than we had out of this last one. Wouldn't take much to see more than that, I guess, would it? The cloud cover is fairly extensive over all of the upper Midwest. Some heavier clouds also down in parts of Florida. A big section of the country through the nation's midsection, also down along the Gulf Coast, had fair skies today. This is where the next storm is developing and moving our way. And so even though we're not expecting any major development over the next 24 hours, we're going to stay cloudy and gray. This is where the storm is supposed to be located by tomorrow night at this time. You can see high pressure is trying to build in up over us. Fairly cool air up behind this high pressure area. And if the cold air continues and we get a little bit of moisture up ahead of that, well, we know what the ingredients are. We know what the outcome is, and that's snow. We'll have to see how it develops, though, by late tomorrow night and into Sunday. In the meantime, we're going to stay on the chilly side of things. The only real warmth down along the Gulf Coast with temperatures in the 60s and a few isolated 70s for high temperatures for the day tomorrow. Well, our current conditions, we still have flurries in the Twin Cities and still some pockets of some freezing drizzle. 26 degrees, winds out of the north at 6 miles an hour, 78% humidity, 29.87 for the barometer, and it's falling right now. Our forecast call for cloudy skies with occasional flurries of freezing drizzle, a low of 21 degrees. Tomorrow we'll be looking at cloudy skies again with occasional flurries, a high of 29. Winds will become variable, so they'll be fairly light, 5 to 10 miles an hour. Cloudy with snow likely developing by tomorrow night, and Sunday probably some accumulation as that little storm system zips to the south of us, a high of 28 degrees. The extended forecast calls for a chance of snow then lingering into Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday remaining cloudy, still nothing in the way of any real Arctic outbreaks, and certainly nothing in the way of any real warm-ups. Temperatures in the 20s and the teens.
All right, Mike. Look.
You said that so well.
If you think that's yuck, in a moment, Ralph John Fritz will guide us through a replay of the Vikings' belated run at the Redskins last night. Coast to
Coast Hardware presents Christmas with the wrong family. Today, they're putting up the tree. Oh, no, that can't be right. What Mr. Wrong needs is the unconditionally guaranteed 75-piece super socket set at Coast to Coast. Now that they've got the tree up, everything ought to go just swell. Uh-oh, too bad they don't have the Ready Light rechargeable lantern by First Alert, now only $19.99. Maybe it's time the Wrongs got Christmas right. We're Coast to Coast. It's Christmas sale time.
We're here to help you.
Riley, this is your big chance. No, Riley, this is your big chance. And your big chance to find the Toyota you want right now. From the biggest inventory of 85 cars and trucks this year, your Toyota dealer wants to move them out fast. Hurry, before someone else drives the Toyota you want right out the door. I couldn't pass? Couldn't pass up great Toyota value. They're moving fast. Don't miss your big chance. See your Toyota dealer now.
Here's the place so many women are talking about, the famous Burlington Coat Factory, where you can actually see coats and sportswear being made for fine stores everywhere. And here's one of Burlington's warehouses where you can see these and other famous brand coats, the largest selection in the country, plus famous designer sportswear, children's clothing, and menswear. All the better labels, all its fabulous savings. The Burlington Coat Factory, a great place to save on the fashions you want.
If you haven't set your clock for Power's 13-hour sale, don't you think you should?
Had they played the second half first last night, you would be sitting next to a genius this evening.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what was going through your mind on the very first play last night? You called for the big upset. Wow.
I pretended that it hadn't happened, and we're going to start from there.
We have an old saying in Sleepy Eye, if you don't have the horses, you can't pull the plow. And,
they wouldn't have that saying in any other city but Sleepy Eye.
But last night was certainly one of those Jekyll and Hyde performances by both clubs. However, the Vikings, Dr. Jekyll could not mend the damage done by Mr. Hyde. Very first play from scrimmage, Joe Theismann of the Redskins thinks he'll test the waters of the deep zone, and he found Calvin Muhammad, and it's smooth sailing, touchdown. Everything was going Washington's way. After offensive lineman Joe Jacoby recovered a fumble for a touchdown, Darryl Grant of the defense scooped up Wade Wilson's fumble and rambled to a Redskin touchdown, a 31-zip halftime lead. Then in the third quarter, Archie Manning pumped new blood into the Vikings' attack. The 14-year vet aired it out for Leo Lewis, and he makes the adjustment here for a 56-yard gain. That same combination teamed up on 4th down and 10 from the 14. The touchdown made the score 31-10. As for Lewis, he caught 7 times, 130 yards, and the Vikings gambled often on 4th down and pulled a few gadget plays out of their hats. This one, a Mike Jones reverse, set up another Manning to Lewis touchdown in the 4th quarter. With less than 3 minutes to play, the Vikings threatened again, but Allen Rice fumbled out of the end zone, and Washington took over. A miracle comeback was not to be. Well, despite the 31-17 setback and a 4-game losing streak, the Vikings are optimistic for next Saturday's game at San Francisco.
Well, it's the best we've looked in a long time, so it really boosts our confidence and made us feel pretty good. You know, a 31-17 loss, normally, you'd feel kind of bad about. But the way things have been going for us, this is really a morale booster, and, we feel fairly good about it.
Well, for all practical purposes, we were kind of out of it, so you might as well be loose. Maybe it's just because I've had a lot of experience in this type of thing and been in that situation before, and, you can go out and just let it rip.
Well, we capitalized on the opportunities that we got in the first half, and in the second half, we fumbled the ball away in one drive, we missed a field goal on another. We didn't make the, and we did in the first half. It just so happens we jumped on them.
Vikings general manager Mike Lynn says preseason telecasts of Viking games will not be allowed next season. Too much exposure, according to Lynn, has caused NFL ratings to drop around the country, and he'd like to give the public about a 1-month rest from pro football. The Vikings are the only team in the NFL deciding against televising preseason games. The Minnesota Strikers made it official today. They signed Greg Thompson of the Tampa Bay Rowdies to a multi-year contract. This, of course, is a homecoming for Thompson, who was selected as the State High School Athlete of the Year back in 1978 for his performance on the Stillwater High School football team. Greg then earned All-American honors in leading Indiana to an NCAA soccer title in 1982. Thompson was NASL Rookie of the Year for Tampa Bay last season. Some impressive credentials for a 24-year-old defender who should provide a great deal of help for the Strikers this season. They take on Las Vegas Sunday at the Met Center. Lowell University of Massachusetts will pay a visit tonight to Williams Arena to face the Golden Gopher hockey team. The Gophers are ranked #1 in the nation and have a 6-point lead in the WCHA. The second game of the series will be tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And the Chicago Blackhawks beat Pittsburgh 6-3 last night. They moved 3 points ahead of the Minnesota North Stars in the Norris Division. The Hawks were led by Dennis Savard, who had the hat trick for the Hawks.
Thank you. That's it for tonight's 6 p.m. report.
We'll be back, though, again tonight at 10. Hope to see you then. Good night, everyone.
Wheel of Fortune, a show the whole family can enjoy with puzzles to be solved by the young and young at heart.
Weeknights at 6:30 on Channel 4.
With my brains and Bessie's cookies, we could go into business. I've tried those light homemade chocolate chip cookies they sell at the stores. But Bessie's new rich and chewy chocolate chip cookies taste like a grandma baked them. Crispy on the outside and moist and chewy on the inside and loaded with chocolate chips. Oh, Bessie, darling, Aggie's got an idea.
Grandma's Rich and Chewy brand chocolate chip cookies. You just can't get closer to homemade than Grandma's.
Now Seiko gives you the moon in all its phases on the world's first analog quartz chronograph, and Taylor's gray with dashes of gold tone in a man's modern classic. To an elegant dress circle, Seiko adds a date window and creates a bold alarm chronograph to sport everywhere. At Seiko, great technology inspires great design. Seiko watches and clocks at your authorized dealer.
Available at fine jewelry and department stores.
It's Star Search 85 with host Ed McMahon and special guest Catherine Bach and Liberace. It's an exciting hour of entertainment as the most talented young performers in America climb the golden ladder to superstardom. Who will be tomorrow's cover girls, movie stars, and dance sensations? The semifinals are getting close. Someone's golden dreams are coming true on the $1.5 million race for fame. Star Search 85.
Star Search, Saturday at 11 on WCCO Television. WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Look at this studio, filled with glamorous prizes, fabulous and exciting merchandise, including this awesome $24,000 ski cruiser.